Bali has transformed dramatically from laid-back island paradise to global hotspot for tourism, luxury, and entrepreneurship. But with rapid growth come both opportunities and challenges.
Today, I'm joined by someone who has witnessed and shaped this evolution firsthand. Sophie Digby, founder of the Yak magazine. As a pioneer in Bali's media and hospitality scene, Sophie has been capturing the island's pulse for over 2 decades. In this conversation, we will dive into her journey, the birth of the Yak, Bali's transformation, and what the future holds for the island. Good morning, Sophie.
Good morning,
Thank you
Elena.
for having us here today, and I'm really happy to be here. It was the conversation I was really looking for. Sophie, you've been here for quite a long time. Can you tell a little bit how did the story with Bali begin, and where are you coming from, and what was it in the very beginning here?
Absolutely. Well, definitely welcome to East West Palms here in Klobokan. So it's beautiful that you and the team have come by. So thank you very much for coming by. We're very proud of our new space. And my Bali story. Came to Indonesia in '93, working for the Japan Times. Did 2 years and then came to Bali. And then basically I gave up the Japan Times. And on arriving in Bali, I started a small guidebook magazine called Bali Plus. One thing led to another, and 2003 we launched, the luxury lifestyle publication, The Yak, which is more coffee table, luxury lifestyle, whereas Bali Plus was more about culture. The other magazines were really concentrating on the culture, and we thought it would be a good idea not to tread on anyone's toes, the advertising pie being quite small. So we came up with a different angle.
So you arrived in that time when the hospitality just starting to be born here. I don't know, the mass tourism was not yet here, right? At that time, how did it evolve during that time, and who contributed in it in the very beginning?
Right. Well, yes, 1996, not much was here. Seminyak was not known, so Seminyak didn't exist per se, and we had a few wartels, so like office phone companies that also opened their restaurant. So we had the roasts on Sundays, but that was it. Very few hotels at that time, and it was the hotels where you could go and get your brunch or your Western lunch. Those days we had a lot of small restaurants, like Poppy's was one of them, Warung Kopi was another, very unique, small restaurants offering slightly westernized menus and a lot of Indonesian as well. But as far as what we have today, like with the bread and the croissants and all that, absolutely not. It was a bit, everything was really nasi bungkus, really back in the day, some beautiful nasi bungkus, but nasi bungkus all the same. No wine. There was black market wine. So it was very difficult to match and pair up and everything. But we had some beautiful companies that started. Hatton Wines was one of them. And they came up with a rosé, making it from table grapes from Singaraja. And they've come on in leaps and bounds now. And we've had other wine companies joining since then that are locally made, like Sabah Bay out in Sabah. And now we've got all the craft industry. So the gins, the vodkas, the rums, and so many other companies. So yes, it's been a massive leap in 30 years. Yeah, 30 years, gosh.
That's been a while. Yak magazine was in the very beginning of it as well, and contributed right in the industry development. Can you tell me a little bit about how was this process going with first of all, Yak, where is it coming from?
Well, that's the last 2 letters of Seminyak.
Yeah.
So as I said, Seminyak wasn't known, and that's why it was called the Yak, and then the Seminyak became known as an area. I think really it wasn't just us at all, really. It was having companies like Kudeta launched, the Legian was there, Macaroni Club down in Kuta, all amazing architectural pieces, very, very modern, very luxurious. And that created us, and we created more of that. So then it was very much an organic, holistic growth of the luxury lifestyle. And within Kudeta and within the Legian, that was the beginning of molecular gastronomy. It was the beginning of molecular cocktails. It was so it was all a big growth within the drinks and food industry. Always supported by the lovely Bill and Henny Bush Gourmet Garage. I would say they were the main distributors with their Lotus distribution. They were possibly I don't really know my history back in the day, but I would definitely say, and Mama's. And Mama's was actually Sujash Meat was actually there before. So between Sujash and Lotus distribution, they were the ones that were instrumental in growing the industry and talking to the chefs that were there and bringing in and finding out what they wanted for their kitchens, and therefore growing this import business that at the time was huge, and it became very big. And now, beautifully, Bali has now pivoted, and Indonesia's pivoted to be able to make a lot more things locally. So whether it's beef, cheese, meats, saucisson, and all that is now also being locally made. So it's been a massive turnaround from import, which is very expensive, to locally created and transported and grown and everything. So it's brilliant. So I really shout out to those people, to all of you guys that have been able to pivot and bring that product that used to come in with a huge carbon footprint and is now made locally. So
it's actually amazing. I think especially during the COVID was quite of a big push for the local production, especially, and there is so many wonderful brands evolved and from the alcohol part industry, right, and from farming and growing locally some meats and producing them here. So like that was quite an amazing shift happening right now.
It was a really good thing to come out of COVID, I think.
Actually,
I think it was
one of them.
The government relaxed some of the distillery rules, so that's how we could have more craft spirits. There was this fabulous Alam Sari, who is a cheese and a charcuterie and a distributor of many foods, who went out literally looking for cheeses that were made in Jogja or Sumatra, or some charcuterie that's made here and there, and brought it under his umbrella and made a beautiful catalogue. So shout out to Eric. Hi, Eric, from Alam Sari. So it's people that really made a constant and a consistent effort to find quality products that could be locally sourced. So yes, it's been an incredible journey, and I think one that's benefited Indonesia and definitely the people that love those products. Benefited us amazingly.
Luxury back then and luxury what we're seeing now in Bali, quite of a different thing we are talking, right? How did it evolve during the time and reshape the industry and reshape the island?
Luxury today is space, right? Because now we have all these villas that are so tiny you can hardly turn around to them. So back in the day, space was abundant, and what wasn't abundant were the choices of breads, the choices of wine. I mean, the wine industry was zero, and as I said, we do have some locally made brands, beautifully made, with some very, very prominent and very good blenders that have come to live in Bali. We've got some great distributors, and I can name a few. We've got Atta Dharmawan, Gary from Best Wines, Paniaga, DSP, Dimatik. I mean, there's a load of distributors that bring in wines from all over the world, New World and Old World. So that's a luxury, because we didn't have that back in 1996, readily available now. The other thing we've seen is the growth of supermarkets, Pepito, Festive, Popular, and all those. And each time you walk in, you get more and more and more products on offer. And then we have the delicatessens. So I don't know if you know of, it's called Das, the beautiful Das delicatessen over on Sunset, on the bypass. Amazing meats, German-based. So sausages and meats and smoked duck and just some incredible things on offer. A lot of westernized offerings, definitely, because I think being so far away from where we grew up, we miss that food,
Yeah.
And yes, and so, I think Bali is such a great window to the world, because everyone from everywhere comes to Bali. So if you do make a product, whether it's an international product, whether you're Diageo or whether you are, Hyatt or whichever brand you are, if it's an international brand, you're very you do well by being present in Bali because you get seen by all the countries of the world, or many of the countries of the world.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a melting pot, right?
Indeed,
It's
indeed.
like we have all the people, all the culture, all the languages, everything mixed in here.
Definitely.
People, I think, sometimes underestimated, as what we were just saying, right? That just the tourism destination, but actually there is much more potential, right? And considering this rapid change, especially for the last couple of years after the COVID, I think the very mass crazy development started just before. It's 2018, 2019, probably before the COVID happened, right? And then now it's coming back, which is bring both opportunity and the challenges. On your point of view, what are the opportunities and what are the challenges, what Bali experiencing now?
Right. Funny enough, I was in North Bali in Munduk at this beautiful 6 boutique Javanese small houses, suites we could call them, called Umalusa. And heading up and going through there and going through those village roads, you wouldn't know the craziness was happening down here. You just wouldn't know. Plus the temperature's fantastic. I think with the challenges of property, well, I think 2018 we had a mini economic crisis where everyone decided to invest maybe outside of stock exchanges and things like that. I also think that Indonesia relaxed some of the rules that had kept a lot of people out of the property market. And then historically, I just think the ease of with social media, the ability to work from anywhere, the massive promotion through Instagram of beautiful Bali, all those things came together to create this kind of snowball effect of I want, I must have, I will build and live, you know, which sometimes has been a little challenging, I think, very much for the Balinese. Some of the old rules have gone. The old rules were don't build taller than a palm tree. The other one said you must have 40% of a Balinese architecture featured in your building. So some of the better rules, or the rules I liked, have gone out the window, which is a shame, because I think it happened so fast it was very difficult to control.
I think what I see, I mean, it's good if you build and live, but mostly it looks more like build and sell and make money.
True. Yes, I think there is that very much that profit taking from Bali, maybe not leaving a lot of it here. I think also there's a very blind way of building. Nobody's thinking about to build slightly more ecologically or, you know, less impact. Right now, I think there's just the greed factor has taken over. The greed, the climb.
Yeah, that's better.
Which I think is very sad. But, you know, I think it's a catch-22. You know, if as foreigners we don't do it ourselves and kind of demand it of ourselves, then the Indonesian government's not going to demand it of us either. And so therefore we're both sides of the coin are letting the side down. So, you know.
Exactly. I mean, from the industry point of view, it is excited, right? More people coming, more development happening. So there is more opportunities, you know, to create more diverse businesses and give more offer. But where is it hitting now? I mean, considering last year, I see there is a lot of happiness regarding like arrivals number growing, you know, but the question is where are all those people going? Because we're seeing decline actually in the occupancies.
Right.
And how is it going to be later?
Well, I think the fallout factor of last year and having, you know, the plastic pollution on Jimbaran Beach, which went around the world. Absolutely, and some of the other issues that have happened, whether it's as investors that have had their business closed, or as people that came to have a lovely beach walk and didn't quite get there. I think we will see numbers drop, and mainly through infrastructure problems. You know, there is a problem with infrastructure. Bali's roads were mainly built for motorbikes, not cars. So this is an issue. One that's not easily solved, because we're trying to solve it after the horse left the stable. So to try and put the genie back in the bottle is going to be nigh on impossible. The plans were there. Sunset Road was supposed to continue to Tanalot, So Canggu would have not had the problems it has now. But that is a challenge. So I do see numbers will drop. People will stop coming. But I do believe that people still want that Bali feel. You know, as my sister said, she's just here, she lives in England. She just said, the feel of Bali. It's the feels that Bali gives you that is so fantastic.
I know.
You know, and they're different, the ones you get up in Munduk and the ones you get down here. But she says they're much more gentle and much more spiritual than she gets in England. Right? She's amazed here. The traffic is a nightmare. She says, but no road rage. You know, she said, how does that happen? Whereas in England, the moment there's two cars in front of the roundabout, everyone's going, oh, come on, you know. so that there is that beauty of that thing. I think, you know, bit by bit, you know, Indonesia's it's going to be 80 years old this year, which is very young for a country, super young for 80 years old, right? I mean, it's literally the teenager, even if, maybe not even a teenager, within the realms of what countries, you know, age of countries. So there's a lot can be done, a lot to do, but there's also a lot to look at themselves and say, we've done really well. You know, there's a lot to, you know, pat themselves and ourselves on the back to see how it has evolved. And I'd say now that I think the worry for the Indonesian government would be the drop in middle class and the economy being more expensive. But that's the whole world, right? Right now, I mean, I think the cost of living is getting much higher. So every middle class is losing its percentage within the population.
And considering, I think it's not such a big middle class percentage actually in Indonesia. It's actually just started to evolve also here.
Correct.
Sophie, you saw this, on the one hand, there is the luxury lifestyle, bohemian, beautiful tropical paradise, right? But on another side, you also saw another part of this beautiful place where is a lot of poverty, a lot of underestimation, a lot of underprivileged people, especially if we're talking about the women's, for example, children, right? You involved a lot in the social work, not only here in Bali, but across Indonesia, Sumbawa Foundation, right? Can we talk a little bit about this? What brings you there, and why is it so important for you?
I suppose really, I mean, with Tina and along with a lady called Vibeke and another lady called Danielle, and thanks to Kudeta, we started I'm an Angel Foundation back in 2000 or 2001, I think. And I'm an Angel was for education and underprivileged families, mainly targeting in West Bali and East Bali. And then after that, I'm an Angel did a lot within Bali and definitely was a disaster relief charity that went out when Jogja had the earthquake, when tsunamis happened and all that, all those things. Moving on from there, Sumbawa Foundation or Sumbawa Project, Harapan Sumbawa Project is the closest one to my heart. My dear friend Carlos Ferrandiz, who is doing a solo vision of his and a passion, and over in Sumbawa with very poor people. Harapan, really, they have no access to clean water. They have no access to medical care or very little. The difference between Bali, whether you like it or not, has a better climate as far as fertile lands, being able to grow more things, being able to sell more things. Over there, it's much drier. They don't have the ability to grow so much, therefore the health is less. So Harapan Sumbawa Project is one of my favorites, and I go there at least once a year, fill up a truck with everyone's old clothes, children's clothes, your old clothes, as long as they're not party clothes. We take, and also toys and school supplies. And we take them all out we take the truck to Hu'u. So it's Hu'u and Lakey Peak. And then there's lots of other charities. Personally, I think that further east you go, the charities are more needy. But we do have Bali Bali Children Foundation. We have Soul Men. Oh, we've got so many here. So many fabulous charities that you can really choose. EDEP, which is a Single Mothers and Children Foundation. Then further afield, we have Aksi Kasih Peduli, which also operates in places like Papua, Sumatra. So yes, I think the one is find one that matches with your heart and your purpose. That's what I would suggest.
recently there was a few events since the last year or year before, right, about the women empowering women in business sustainability. Now you're combining them together in the last event. What does this mean for you personally?
Right. So the women's investment entrepreneurs community was started probably back in 2021, 22, more or less, but it was just with more like tea gatherings and coffee gatherings and just creating a very small network. Obviously, due to COVID, we weren't exactly allowed to gang together. That culminated in this year, 2025, with a very big event, WESS, Women's ESG Sustainability Symposium, which was at the Meru Sanur, which brought together some amazing speakers, Minnie from WISE and We Connect from Singapore, various people, Shinta, Ibu Shinta from Apindo, Jakarta, so many. Agnes Ann, Agnes Ann from Singapore, from City Developments Limited, and many others from here, from Bali, great speakers, and 150 women that sat in that room and became empowered for about 3 days. I heard the buzz was really, really incredible. So that was at the Meru, and it was also for charity, for those 3 charities, the Kasi Peduli, the IDEP, and the Harapan Sumbawa project. And it was really to create the space for women to meet women, where women can help women. Yeah. I think basically when I first came to Indonesia, women take much more of a second tier to men. They weren't really allowed to paint, create an income for themselves. So I think I'm an Aries dragon. I need to feel empowered. Well, I am empowered, and I'm very independent, and that gives you the freedom, and it gives you the freedom to create. And therefore, I think a lot of women like creating, and I think therefore you need to put women together, because I think we are a great support system. And not necessarily has the education in the past opened the doors to the necessary industries, or given us options to those industries that one we would like to do, whether it was marketing, filmmaking, radio, DJ, artists, or whatever, back in my day, because I'm 60, secretary, wife, veterinary surgeon, nurse, something like that. So I think nowadays, I think that the education is much wider, especially online. Any girl, any one of us can go online, and if you want, you can learn. If you don't, and you do want to become the household and the caregiver and the mother and keep it that way, perfect, but for those of us that don't, then there's also options. And I think options are the one things that give us freedom, right? It's the option to choose. That's the freedom giver. Yeah.
How do you think the involvement of the businesses here in Bali in social work, in cultural heritage also change over the time, and where are we now with that?
Right. Social work, I think getting better. I think the whole world is getting better on that social work. I think everyone's understanding about mental health, depression, menopause, all these different, climate anxiety, all these different things that really do come at people, because obviously every day we get further and further away from our wellness, which we don't ground like we should. We should be walking barefoot in the garden. We should be going down to the beach, covering ourselves with sand like they do in the old days to magnetize your body. Culture, I think Bali, it's always been quite insular in its uniqueness to its culture. In the old days, we were welcomed as the occasional tourist, but the occasional tourist had learned about that, had been very aware to learn about the do's and the don'ts of how to turn up, what to wear, where to sit, etc. And you would definitely know what event it was, right? Nowadays, it's just been really crazy. People have just come, and the temple doors were open. They now have locks on them, which is very sad. There never was a gate when I came, and people are just unaware of what's happening in Bali. They brought their own culture of yoga, ecstatic dance, matcha, whatever that new thing is, and the Bali culture has been sidelined, and their culture, which is Instagram, this, that, and the other, is their culture. So I would definitely recommend anybody that comes to Bali to read a couple of the books. There's some beautiful books called Sakala Niskala, which is the seen and the unseen, which is the beautiful, I think there's 1, 2, and 3, could only be 2 volumes. everything about architecture, magic, rituals, the names, why everyone's called the same name, about the mountains, about the volcano, about the weaving, about the sugar, about the temples, about everything. So those are books I would really recommend people read because they're so interesting. You know, there's only one Bali. It literally is the uniquest culture in the world. And it hasn't been exported. You know, I'm sure some Hawaiian culture has been exported or it's been culturally appropriated. But Bali just, you know, still has its very unique culture. And I've seen recently on Instagram, if you really follow the Balinese Instagram thing, they're doing some amazing events. So yes, I would definitely buy your own kabaya and your sarong and always wear your sash and never with the menstruation enter a temple, and do follow and do go, but always go with respect and quiet and no cameras, preferably. Not big ones anyway.
Well, I think this just overall culture, you know, now we're not doing, looks like we're starting to do more things, not for experiencing those things, but to show this experience, you know, on the social media. That's
all about reflecting what we're doing and not reflecting who we are on the inside,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. Right. Not to feel and experience it, but to show up.
Right.
You know, that's, oh, I have tried that.
Right.
And this is quite a sad thing. What I also observing, I've not been here for such a long time. It's been 11 years now since I moved. But even though 10 years ago, the people was coming here still for culture. And
now,
the
occasional cocktail.
Yeah. And it was more like, oh, wow, you know. And then somewhere in the middle, people start to demand, you know, oh, why no avocado toast? Or why no coffee latte? I don't know, whatever else. And now we become, it's just losing
we've just, I don't know if we've kind of put up this kind of cultural wall, you know, whereas before we wanted to blend, you know, we were just fascinated by the dance, the trance dances, the Xiang trance dance, you know, kayu manis, you know, or you know, galungan, kuningan, you know, all those things were just so beautiful. And we came searching for that. We came looking for the culture. We didn't come running away from whatever everyone I think has come here for now, which is probably here we have an easier life, more for your bang for your buck, as they say. And you say, the showing off, you know, between the gates of Bali Handara. You know, just around the corner at the Bali Botanical Gardens are the same gates. But there's no queue there. There's nobody there. Oh, sorry. Well, I tell you why it's not. No, I tell you why. Because there's a statue right behind it. So there's no you. You blend into a not great background.
What would be your advice for the hospitality business here to how they can improve, not improve, I think, but include more cultural background in their operation and their work, you know, and not to put it something as, you know, behind, trying to elaborate on the modern trends and bring outside culture, but actually have a local culture as a background.
If I can take that back one step to all the hospitality industries, I really recommend looking at Shiva Industries. So it's all the hotel owners out there, I know who you are. Shiva Industries. So Shiva Industries have created this massive food waste, what we call compost maker, which they can do within 24 hours. So any of the bigger hotels, I would definitely recommend looking into buying or renting a Shiva Industry machine. Shiva Industries, you can look it up on Instagram. An amazing job. They take all the waste, all the kitchen waste, all the food waste, and instead of sending that to a very, very full landfill, it literally can create and become amazing fertilizer within 24 hours. So do look up Shiva Industries, because it was created in Bali. So it was basically born in Bali. So we really love that machine. Then on the cultural side, how could we? Well, I think trends come and go. I mean, back in the day, it used to be Italian restaurants, then it was Mexican restaurants, then it was Peruvian Mexican restaurants, Peruvian Japanese restaurants. So I think F&B industry is always cyclical, always cyclical. And you do understand that Balinese culture is in itself very flexible and will take on new trends. It does that succinctly and uniquely. It just has that as a trend, and it incorporates it as part of the new part, which is one of the reasons it's still around, because it has the ability to adapt. Whereas any other religion that I know is very stoic. It just solid. It won't adapt. So the Balinese culture itself is quite adaptable. You know, they fall in love with something that one of them came up with, and they will continue that. Whether it's a style of gamelan, whether it's having the dead person's face on their T-shirt. I mean, that only happened in the 70s because the guy that died was a T-shirt maker. He had a sablon business. So they just did this T-shirt thing. And so that was the first time it was ever used. And then since then, now everybody passes away. They get their sablon. That's in 1976, I think, happening. So that's what I'm saying. It is flexible, you know. It absorbs and adapts and sometimes uses that, and it becomes part of it, an intrinsic part of that. As far as I do see some beautiful people making amazing restaurants. So Bali Asli up in East Bali, the lovely Penny Williams doing an amazing job with her Mengabung and all her Balinese cooking classes. Here inside the tourism hub, a little bit harder. But you do have nice, good Indonesian restaurants. Indonesian, remember, it has, I don't know, probably 200 cuisines. But as far as Balinese cuisine, yes, it's hard here. Culturally, I think the hotels do a little bit more because it's expected. Outside of that, I think restaurants come and they go. You know, I think it's such a difficult business to be in. I mean, it really is. I mean, you wouldn't want to wish that on your best friend, to have a restaurant business. No, that's very tough, and you have to be passionate about it, and you have to be there all the time.
Yeah.
And I think as far as limiting, I think up in Ubud you have a much better chance of that cultural thing, because people do go to Ubud looking for culture, because that's actually been the trend since the 20s. You know, it was the kings of Ubud, the Chakordas, who invited all the artists, who invited all the travelers to come and enjoy Balinese culture up in Gianyar, up in Ubud. So you have to remember, Seminyak did not exist. We don't particularly have a strong Satria caste, noble caste here. As in Ubud, it's we call it chock-a-block with chocks. Therefore, as caretakers of the village, it's much stronger up there. Not so many caretakers down here. And a lot more just farming community, fishing community. So the culture in itself wasn't there, because it was never sponsored. So all this needs to be sponsored. You know, it has to be paid for by somebody.
Right.
And of course, therefore, you need your chakordas, and you need your gustis, and you definitely need your nobility to take care of the community in the village, and definitely your Ida Ayus and your Bataras, you know, and so your Brahmins to keep that cohesion and that in the culture.
I think there is quite a lot happening now in Karangasem and Tabanan.
Yep.
As there is also get the understanding how actually nourishing it to bring those things back, you know, and empower the people to promote more the cultural way of living in Bali, and there's more stronger cultural ties between them. So hopefully it will also get somewhere.
I think they've seen Badung. They've seen the fall of Badung. I imagine they call it the fall of Badung, and how culturally they seem to be further away from the mountain, and therefore their deified ancestors. So I think that's always, you know, it always comes with consequences.
Right.
You have the balance. That's why we have the poleng. You have to have a balance. So if you get a little too out of kilter, it will right itself quite strongly back the other way. So definitely, I think Tabanan's looking at Badung and how slightly further away from culture it has gone, you know. And Uluwatu as well, which is one of the most important temples. So yes, it is a worry as the cliff crumbles.
It is.
You know, there's certain things that are you know, interesting that have been going on. But I do think that the Balinese themselves, I mean, I'm looking at the amazing ceremonies we've just had. There are a couple of Brahmins that passed away, very big Brahmins, and there was a massive ceremony up at Kintamani no foreigners allowed. And that was like, I don't know, it was probably like a 7 or a 12-day ceremony. Huge. It was beautiful to see everyone coming together. I think 2026, there is time to come back to the Dewa Sraya ceremony, which is another big ceremony up in Kintamani, that we will definitely be putting the word out to find any people to help. We definitely need help to raise funds. It's a very big ceremony, happens once every 25 years, I think. Terja, Nielsen, if you can correct me, or reach out to me, because I do know that you are organizing something, and I know that you invited me on board. So do touch base. I think we should get going on this. Right. I think, what I would have loved to have seen the government do is that there would have been a 40 development, 60% nature ruling somehow. But I suppose it's unfair on people to own that bit of the land. They can make a lot of money, and that bit of the land they can't make any money from. Or, it's hard work to make money from.
There is a wonderful, I love how the regulations are developing over the time, and Badung, hopefully, I don't know, they also realize like what's happening, and they're implementing a system, and actually there is more regulation over the land building and how many % should be covered, how many still should be in nature. So they're making it more clear. It's very accessible thanks to them now. You can easily find all information online. You just need to put your point, where you are, and you can see everything there. So we're going towards this direction, which is really, really good. The implementation and supervision, this I think still quite questionable. It is good we have again these new regulations with the building permits, and the safety certification after the building. So definitely it will be better and better, I hope. So the government going to this, and that's amazing. But how long it's gonna take and how much will we lose on the way? Still, this is, I think, still quite a question, and it's kind of a sad question.
As I said, they're 80 years old, so they're very young as a country. It's like, and they've been told what to do for 300, 400 years. So it's like, don't tell me what to do. It's like a teenager, Tell me I've got to learn my own way, which I think is important.
This is, I think, another thing for me also as a foreigner, as an expat here, right? Our countries where we're coming from went through this way some time ago.
And
we remember that.
And shocking living conditions. I mean, London back in the 1600s. Oh, scary.
Yeah, I was born when the Soviet Union fell. It was 10 years of a nightmare for the whole country. So like it's funny to remember. Was not that funny to live in that times, So like we all on some point remember with this or not. Does it cause any uncomfortable to us before? We are here now feeling, I guess, quite often that we know better. And we want to advise, and of course advise and support for better. But on another hand, that's it is not our game.
No, it's very presumptuous of us. Yes.
This is just to let it happen the way it's happening, and not to be that ambitious and involved in like trying to change something. It's just happening as it is, So you just
it's an evolving country, and as I said, 80 years old is very young for any country to be.
However,
that age, 80, it's really, really.
I mean, for me, it's most I think, like, sad part is this: that I have 3 Indonesian children, which I want to live in a beautiful country, in a free country, in the country which nourishing, the country which developing, the country where they can get the education and where they can live in nature. Because this was one of the reasons why I moved there one day, and. Not just Indonesian, but the Balinese, I want them to remember this culture, the tradition, and they know what I want them to, be here. I don't want they grow up and live.
I mean, I think it's the Balinese way that's so beautiful. The understanding of Tatuam Asi and the sky and the earth and the lower ground and that respect that they have for that. I think is very beautiful.
And another thing is that, I mean, as an expat also, right, and partly expat, as a foreigners, we have an opportunity to pack our bags and leave, right? Anytime when the things going bad, you know, when the beaches are not clean anymore, when there is no even one rice field, you know.
Go on to the next spot, like the locust.
Yes, exactly. What is it next? You know, Sumbawa, Lombok, Sumba, you know, Flores. Anywhere abroad, you know, we have 2 passports. I mean, some of the people, right? You grab your stuff, you're moving forward. I don't want to move forward. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want my kids to go anywhere.
True.
So that's the thing. So how to really preserve and help, you know, and to do it for good.
So I think on the expat side, how we can help is really to, personally, I'd say, how many of your listeners, you know, have Eco Bali recycling? How many do have the urban biologist that comes and picks up your wet waste? Are we careful with buying less? Buying maybe from different shops because they have a better policy as far as plastic bags and packaging, and are we doing our best to help Bali help herself? I think that's important.
That is true. Sophie, your new project where we are now is yes. Can you please tell me a little bit about it? What is it about, and what is your vision for this new baby?
Right, East West Palms company started. The idea started with a dear girlfriend of mine, Caroline Usher, who is heads up Usher's by Design Global, which is an interior design company. She has done some amazing projects like The Cave, Maori, Mama San. She started a trend there, didn't she? And many other projects, you know, whether they're villa projects, hotel projects, or restaurant projects. We decided that we wanted to do something together. So we decided to do East West Palms Company, which, as you'll see from the video, that this is an interior design show space, and we want everyone else to be able to enjoy it. So it's also become an event space. And it also has a wine bar, where it will be educational, not just a drinking bar. It's actually really here for wine tastings and which wine, which glass kind of thing. So we really want to educate people on the wine that's available. Too many wines are in the supermarket, very difficult to know which one to buy. So you're always going to just go for your one that you think you know, right? So we would like people to really open their palette to different wines, different areas, different distributors, different retail spots. And so here we'll be doing a lot of wine tastings. We're starting a wine club at the end of the month, where we'll be giving away, you know, as a wine club member, you'll be coming to wine tastings. You'll be getting tasting notes. You'll be becoming part of a network, and we'll be sending you, as a member, bottles of wine to your house every quarter, depending on the level you buy, every quarter, every 2 months. But you'll also be able to get discounts off our retail wine list here at East West Palms. So we've got some beautiful strategic partners throughout this beautiful interior design space, which has the most beautiful rice paddy view. And it's open for you guys to come and have your event here if you want, or it's open for you to come have a glass of wine here. But it's also open if you're looking to refurbish your villa, or if you're building a villa or a hotel, or have friends that are looking to really find the creme de la creme of interior design excellence. Even if you have your own interior designer, we've brought together the top partners, the top furniture people, the top fabric people, and mainly the top lighting people. And so that's why we're here, because we want to make it the one-stop shop of excellence for interior designs, and then for events, and for wine. There we go. East West Palms. And we've got parking. And we've got parking.
And this is important.
Yes.
We touch a little bit the local production, and especially evolving production of the spirits.
Right.
What would be your pick from the new happenings, like some special alcohol from the wine, or maybe from the spirits?
The Craft Spirits Festival that we did about 2 years ago was kind of the beginning. We didn't do another one. I think for me, who I'd be really proud of is certain people for certain products. Not all their products are my favorite. And I don't think anyone should be. I think everyone's got taste buds. So you say, oh, that's more in line with my taste buds or whatever. So I love East Indies gin, the first one they came up with. I love that. I love Mistel from Sabah Bay wine, very cold with blue cheese. Love that. Nusantara, the cold brew coffee liqueur, again from that's from Spice Island Distilleries. I think Kaja has an amazing vodka. Kaja is probably an unknown local brand. They make a gin, but I prefer their vodka. Who else could I? Otherwise, I'll be in so much trouble. Hatton's, I think, is doing a great job. You know, Hatton's, especially with their 2 islands, just like the higher one. I think that's very, very quaffable, especially in the tropics.
Yeah.
I think that's probably is my local spirits. Mine would definitely have to be the East Indies gin, the Nusantara for an espresso martini, and Mistel from Sabah Bay for that cheese, wine, walnut moment. You know. Then I'm passionate about old world wines. So not equatorial wines. I find equatorial wines quite kind of not everyday drinkable. Whereas I think old world wines I love, some new world wines also. But yeah, definitely Spanish because I grew up in Spain. So anything Spanish, brilliant. And this is where we're bringing everyone together. So within this East West Palms and then our wine club, which is called Privé by East West Palms, we will be introducing and having tests and tastings with, like, we've got a new nutmeg liqueur, we've got all these different new Bali-based liqueur companies, distilleries and wineries, which we'll also be coming to taste together and tasting. But we'll also be having the good old imports, you know, the Spanish, the French, the South African, the South Australian, the New Zealand, the Argentinian, the Chilean. Yeah, absolutely.
Everything. I was impressed with the nutmeg liqueur.
The nutmeg liqueur, it is. It's just over there. It's sitting on the bar. So maybe when we finish here, we'll have a little.
It's very nice. It's an amazing idea. It's locally sourced.
Yes, and it's got very little carbon footprint. And what better quality nutmeg can you get than coming from here, right? I mean, if you want to make a nutmeg liqueur in England, then the nutmeg sort of travels a long way. But so we get the best quality. They source the best quality. They made it here, low carbon footprint, and what a beautiful local flavor, you know, national flavor. Yeah,
exactly, because nutmeg is the origin for Indonesia,
from
right?
Banda Islands, yes.
Yes, and
yes, the nutmeg wars.
I think Indonesia is such a wonderful playground, you know, for F&B, especially for the food production, because there is so many not conventional flavors, right? It's not something what we expecting to have on the West. And you can just so much more with that. And it's good that it's coming back. I think all the modern farming, right? And all those techniques.
For example, when we say Indonesian restaurants abroad, you know, we don't have many. And I think my theory is there are so many cuisines in Indonesia that are very different one to the next, that nobody really knows what to put under the title Indonesian restaurant. So I think that's the problem here. Is it Balinese? Is it Padang? Is it Sunda? Is it Sundanese? Is it you know, so many of them.
Yeah.
How would you have this umbrella thing called Indonesian?
Yeah.
You know, it's too hard to put too many styles under the one umbrella, I think. So and I've always been surprised that Indonesian restaurants haven't caught on as much as
that's true
as Thai restaurants, for example, or Japanese or even Korean, you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we see abroad, if there is any Indonesian restaurant, that would be nasi goreng, I think fried chicken and satay.
Yeah. I think that's basically it. Maybe. Yeah.
That's all.
And some sambal or something. But not something with the peanuts. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
but sadly not to have the amount of fabulous food that one gets here. Which is your favorite Indonesian restaurant? Do you have one?
For the restaurant, I really like, there is a small restaurant in Pulau Kelapa. You know, it's just on the street, but they have a really nice, like, homemade cuisine, and they also have a lot of old pictures there and some introduction of the spices and things. So, like, we discover it accidentally, and now so far every time we're going to Ubud, we're going there. But mostly it's just local warung.
Right. No, but I just think local, and then New York, and they all cook to their own style, which is so fantastic.
There is amazing place which been in Canggu for years. It's a Sika Warung.
Oh yes, the Sika Warung,
and it's just got so busy. And I was like, damn it!
Yes.
Like, where you all coming?
Where have you come from? Who are you people?
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's an amazing Balinese lady, Ibu Sika, who is cooking over the years there, and it's just like they have so many choice for nasi campur.
Right.
It's just one of the best in Canggu.
Just go point.
Yes, exactly. And it's always fresh, always hot, always like.
Yeah, and reasonable, and very reasonable. I mean, I think if you look at what the steak costs you, and you could probably eat for a month. On that for
I think
nasi goreng.
For the local food, it's very different. As more smaller, I think simpler place it is, as more better.
Yes.
The taste there. It's, I think, applied to whole Asia. You're going in a street food stall, and this probably would be the best food in the area.
And fresh.
And just
with its unique recipe.
Exactly. And again, this is the story always. If you can talk with the people, and know a little bit about them. I found it's quite hard in Thailand, for example, because not always they speak English, for example. So to get, but here, especially in Bali it's quite easy. And you can always talk with the people,
Well, the Balinese are already bilingual within their own Bali. So they're either speaking high Balinese and mid Balinese, or low Balinese and mid Balinese. So already that's bilingual, and then they have to speak Indonesian. So that's practically trilingual, and therefore English, because it's very good for business. Then
So even if the couple of words, you can always share, and it's always the welcomeness. Of the small warung, because usually there is the owner of warung, right? Some ibu,
big smile,
who will give you a little bit extra, you have to try this also, and this and that.
And the sambals are always so good, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you can figure out, if you can do the sambal, they will be extremely happy.
So true.
So I think it's just this human connection, through the food. Amazing. And if you're going through the islands, especially in something remote, for example, Sumbawa,
the hospitality,
people, the hospitality,
food and hospitality
is just, it's not that hospitality or luxury we used to imagine, but the feeling of human connection and
the welcoming.
Welcoming.
Share my food, share
you
your
cannot
food,
teach this, you cannot establish this welcomeness.
And which is why we live here and not somewhere else, because they're not so welcoming. Wherever you go outside of Indonesia, maybe.
I think it's also dependent on the people. If you're coming with the open mind and open heart and open arms, I can say experience.
I'm willing to take a risk.
Exactly.
So not be too scared. Oh, I can't eat that food. I can't eat this food.
I mean,
adventurous is what I mean.
Yes,
come adventurous. Come to Bali and be adventurous.
So that's and then the Bali will show you a really beautiful side of it. I think this is the most important. To wrap up it all, Sophie, from your living in Bali, building business in Bali, what would be a few insight or the lessons you would like to share for the people who is coming here or who is just starting it here?
Right, starting in business, check the legals. Check the legals, and don't think that everybody knows what's going on, because sometimes they don't. Indonesia has a way of always updating the systems, the rules and the regulations. So check that. If you're doing business with a partner, make sure you get a signed contract in Indonesian. None of this, I signed a contract in English. The same if you're renting a house or if you're renting a business or a restaurant. Definitely cross your T's and dot your I's. It's very important. It really is very important, because one doesn't sign a contract or a partnership, shareholding, with the aim of breaking up and falling apart. Well, you're doing it so you don't. So there's no misgivings or misunderstandings or expectations or assumptions and all that. Then look at the contract. Just do know that if you are renting a restaurant, that person is the right person to rent it from. That there isn't maybe a son or a daughter or a cousin or something that is also involved in the ownership of that space, venue, land. And you really have to go to the best advisory services. So for that, yes, the advisory service you use it. don't not use an advisory service. I really would, and really find out if there's a good one. You know, I mean, I think there are a few good ones. I also think there are a few cowboys. So, and I think that's like anywhere in the world. So I would definitely, you know, make sure you check, make sure that everyone's given them 5 stars. Look for the comments in their Instagrams. Meet them, see if they're the correct person for you, the one that kind of gels, and above all, enjoy. And staffing is always a challenge. Learn the language. Indonesians do not work, and we do not put the Western way of working on the beautiful Indonesian people. You know, involve them, bring them up, bring them along. You know, I think too often people want that Western way of, you know, you're already supposed to know this. Why? You know, it's like I wish somebody would say to me, I wish somebody would say to a lot of people, why don't you make a chanang? You know, the offering pot. You make one. Let's see what a ass you make out of that one, right? So don't expect, and they make them beautifully. So why would you expect them to be able to do something that we look as quite normal? So you have to teach, and they should definitely also teach us how to make chanangs. So there we go. It would be a nice,
this is a good
nice workshop, right? Because then we really understand. You know, culturally, they're very further ahead than we are in many cultural things, certainly in mentoring and certainly spiritually than we are. And that expectation that sometimes we have without taking into account the culture and what their norm is and what our norm is. I think sometimes that's the thing, you know, with the bottom line, if they can make more money, you know, they can get a better salary, expand their knowledge, you know, give them, empower them. So empowerment, I think, is very important for women to do for women, or even men to do for women, or women to do for men. Empowerment, I think, is one of the most beautiful privileges that we have that we can share. I think definitely.
Yeah, that's true. Last, on one of the events, you were giving a beautiful offering to the audience regarding that's how you can also be helpful if someone have any questions. If someone needs some help, for example, they can approach you.
Come pop in, absolutely.
Or do you need any help or any support, for example, currently?
Currently, well, I'd just like to get the network being bigger, whether it's the Women Investment Entrepreneurs Community Network to become bigger. I think we can all do a lot to share. I mean, culturally, yes, I know exactly the one you're talking about. Right now, I don't think that's a great topic of conversation, because I think that would entail maybe working on a platform like the Dewa Seraya ceremony, which is all about Bali culture. For the help, I think our networking events, and if you have an event that's a network event and you want to expand your network, then our event space is open. Wonderful. Come on, welcome, see it, enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Sophie.
Okay, thank you, Elena. Really, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.